American Family Insurance Dream Drive. And as I said, we're very excited at the Packers to start off the 79th training camp. And we're going to formally get things started here on Dream Drive and the great tradition we have here with the Bike Kids. To get started, I'd like to introduce Packers President and CEO Mark Murphy. Mark.
Thank you, Aaron, and welcome, everybody. What a beautiful day, huh? Really excited to be able to officially kick off the Dream Drive with American Family Insurance. This is our 11th year now. Really excited about the partnership with American Family Insurance. Also, we're very excited to welcome all the kids and families who are here to participate in this tradition. It's really unique across the league. You know, to me, it really it's very special in that it brings together our players and our fans. It's been going on for many, many years, back even before the Lombardi era. So it's something that I know at the time the Packers thought, what can we do to bring the players a little closer together with our young fans, and the bicycle tradition has been just tremendous over the years. So pleased that American Family Insurance shows commitment to this beloved tradition and to our community as a whole. Dream Drive helps kids who play a big role in transporting the players to practice and gives them an opportunity to show their support and cheer them on. What's been really gratifying over the years is the relationships that have formed between players and their bike kids go and continue on for years. So it's really been good to see. I do want to give special thanks to a number of people. First, from our sales team, Craig Benzel, Justin Wolf, Lisa Nortman, and Craig Decker for helping put this event together today. And a thank you, as always, to our guest services and security. Where's Gus? Gus, this is my last year. I think you and I are going to be on bikes this year, Gus. Well, but they make it possible to help all the families and players navigate Dream Drive. And of course, I also want to give special thanks to Rich Steffen and his team at the American Family Insurance. Yes, a round of applause for particularly Rich Steffen and American Family Insurance. Just a great company here in Wisconsin. But really do appreciate their partnership. You are standing in front of the American Family Insurance Gate, which is proudly sponsored by American Family Insurance. And not only our partnership with them, but their commitment to the Packers. With that, I think I'll turn it back over to Aaron. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Maybe I suggest a tandem bike with you and Gus. Okay, we look forward to that. All right, as Mark said, really excited to have American Family Insurance here be part of our day, and to speak more about their involvement and support of the Packers and training camp, Rich Steffen. Rich.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Aaron. And good morning, Packer fans. Great to be here, and what a wonderful day. And Mark, just want to say thank you for your 17 years here, obviously the legacy that you'll leave, and the partnership that we've had over your entire tenure. So let's give it up for Mark Murphy. So I'll get to that story. So I'm honored to be here representing American Family Insurance as a proud sponsor of the Green Bay Packers and the 11th annual Dream Drive. To start another training camp, it's a tradition like no other, which is going to be a very, very exciting season for the Packers. At American Family Insurance, we're here to inspire our customers to dream big, and we want them to know that their life is better when those dreams are protected under our roof. American Family has shared a strong 19-year partnership, as Mark mentioned, with the Green Bay Packers. Caring for our customers and supporting our communities are values we both have. We're two Wisconsin-based companies with two very strong brands working together to make a difference. We're expanding our partnership with the Packers that includes the sponsorship of the East Gate that you see over to your left or your right, Dream Drive, presenting sponsor of the Packers Draft, and Titletown Game Day Live, the popular pregame event for fans that include music, food, beverages, and games. 4 things that Packer fans truly love. We're also extremely excited to recently announce our newest American Family brand ambassador, someone who truly embodies dreams coming true, and that's our quarterback, Jordan Love. Today we're here to celebrate a truly unique tradition, Dream Drive, which American Family has sponsored since 2014. Having a Packer ride your bike is a dream for all kids that are here today, and a memory that will last a lifetime. And I know this story well as a kid that grew up in Ashwaubenon, actually 3 blocks off the south end zone. My mom is right over there. She's 87 last week. Her and my dad built the house 60 years ago. Before this was actually Lambeau Field. It was still City Stadium. And so I grew up here, much like these kids, riding a bike. And I actually had a dream come true that I'm in the Packer Hall of Fame. Now, the dream didn't play out exactly the way I wanted. I wasn't a player in the Packer Hall of Fame, but I was, gave my bike to Freddie Nixon in 1982, and that picture is in the Packer Hall of Fame today. So pretty cool. And speaking of the bikes, they've come a long way since 1982. When you think about the specially designed bikes, we have 4 of them here today. We have the Cheddar Chariot, the Superfan Mobile, the Fearless Rider, and the Dream Driver. Also, when you're out and about today, I would just say look for the carts with the red roof lines to pick up special items, compliments of American Family Insurance, including bucket hats, water bottles, and sunglasses. Before we officially kick off the 2024 Dream Drive and Training Camp, I'd like to recognize 2 of our American Family local agents that do a great job representing American Family in this community and giving back, and that's Joe Havel and Amanda Stanley. So let's start the celebration of Training Camp and this unique tradition of the Dream Drive and a new season for our 2025 Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? So on behalf of American Family Insurance, always dream fearlessly, and let's get the first Go Pack Go chant going to the season. Go Pack Go! Go Pack Go! Go Pack Go! All right, thank you. Back to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Rich. Awesome to be excited about this season. At this point, we're going to do our ribbon cutting. So I'd like to invite Joe and Amanda up, along with Mark and Rich. We've got our special scissors that are going to be coming. Do a little photo op first. Yeah, we'll do a countdown. We'll do pause for a photo. Hold on. Make sure we get a few photos. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, cut. Hey, there we go. And with that, we are set for Training Camp 2024.
As we get started here, I just want to say, first of all, really excited to be back. When the players come back, there's just so much energy. I know we've been back for a week, but, to have everybody back and kind of see what, everything that they're, doing over the summer. So it's good to get back, get to work. We got a lot of work to do. Got a great group of guys in this locker room. We got a lot of work to do before we get to where we want to be. But I'm confident that, those guys have what it takes. And so that's exciting. I also want to touch a little bit on Kenny Clark and our extension that we were able to come to last night. He is the model player that you kind of want to build a program around. Obviously, he's a great player, has been as consistent as you could ever imagine, and we're just really excited to kind of be able to extend him and then let him lead that group for the foreseeable future. And I'll take questions.
How close is something with Jordan? I know you had said you preferred to get something done before camp. Is that something that could happen here in the next couple days?
Yeah, I think so. But again, you never know. I mean, we're working really hard to get that done. I think it's really important for us. At the same time, the thing that I have confidence in is that we both want the same thing, right? We want Jordan here for a long time, give him that stability for him, and it gives us some stability for our group as well. So, Russ is doing a great, a great job with, David Mulugeta and their team. Got two people who are very experienced with this, so I'm optimistic. These are big deals. It takes time. They're not as easy as some people may think.
Has he or any of his people expressed any reluctance to practice or play in any preseason until you get it done? Or? No,
that's a good question, Rob. So I think it was Saturday night. They kind of informed us that until we get something done, that he would not practice again. So unless something gets done here before practice starts here pretty soon, he will not be practicing. But again, I think this is something we're all working on, and we certainly understand where he's coming from. We'd like him to be out there. It's important for him to be out there. Obviously, you guys know how important practice is, and working with his teammates. So, but as of now, until we get that resolved, he will not be practicing. He'll be taking part in. He reported last week. He's taking part in everything else.
What are the barriers? I guess not speaking specifically about years and dollars, but just generally speaking, you mentioned it's become more complicated than a typical contract.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. But we're going to keep those things internal. We're not going to kind of talk about those things openly. But it's a really good working relationship between Russ and his agents. And like I said, it's these things are they're big deals, and it takes a little bit of time to get it right for for what we need. But I feel we're close. But no real timetables as far as how long it's going to take.
When you negotiate with a quarterback, how do you kind of marry, we want to certainly give you what you deserve, but at the same time, your number is going to affect what we're able to do, kind of down the line?
Yeah, certainly that's part of the process. And, we're aware of that, they're aware of that. And it's really just finding common ground, which, again, we're really fortunate to have Russ kind of in the role that he's in. He has so much experience and, just, again, confident that we'll find that common ground hopefully soon.
Goody, is it? Again, I know you don't want to get into specifics. Mm-hmm. Is the challenge, though, you guys obviously love Jordan, you're very confident he's going to be a really, really good player, but kind of like you said about the fifth-year option, it's a lot of money to pay a guy who hasn't played. Mm-hmm. Now it's a lot of money to play a guy who had a really outstanding one half of a season. Is that part of where the challenge comes in, or not really? No,
I mean, I think that certainly we're very down the road as far as we know that he's our franchise quarterback, and we're ready to move forward. It's not like we're trying to make that decision. But at the same time, we want to put the best team around him we can, and we want to make sure that there's certainly the structure of it so that we can do what we need to do for our football team moving forward, not only this year but in years to come, is very, very important. So again, like I said, it's this is just part of it, not unexpected, and we'll work to get it done, and hopefully he won't miss too much time, because it is, we got a lot of work to do. We think we have a very good football team, but we got to come together as a team, and he's a big part of that. So him being out there is important for us, but we'll get there.
What happened with Jaden Reed?
Yeah, I think he just tweaked something in his camp. I don't know if an 8-year-old beat him on a route or something, but we don't. It's nothing that we expect to be too long.
Do you feel, though, even back in the spring, that Jordan might miss or sit out some of these practices, or was that a surprise to you?
I wouldn't say. I mean, it's not something, I think, you all know when you're in these things that if you get to a certain point, there's a certain level of risk that a player takes by going out there. So, you're always aware that could happen. Certainly we want him out there. But he's been very open and forthright with us as we've gone through this. So, but back in the spring, I don't think I was thinking in those terms, but certainly, that's a possibility with any of these players that, you're going down that road with.
Ryan, how do you deal with expectations? And you still have a relatively young or very young team, but just, when the word Super Bowl comes up or whatever on the outside, how do you deal with that this year?
Yeah, we've always had really high expectations within this building. It never really changes for us. And the external expectations, kind of are irrelevant. We know what we have to do, which is focus on the day-to-day and the process. And, we got a lot of talent. We got a lot of really good guys in that locker room, but whether it'll be up to them, if they put in the work and sacrifice the things that they need to sacrifice to become a team. And, but, kind of going through last year, I'm confident they know how to do that. So now it'll be just a bit of a choice, but it's, I think, the hunger that our guys are showing right now is, I think that gives us a lot of confidence, and we're very excited about it. What's up, Pete?
Not much. How you doing?
Good.
Got me off the Stairmaster early today.
Brian, how much, if at all, did the Sunday ticket situation, affect your negotiations with Jordan? Does that have to play part with how the salary cap could be affected in the future?
No, only with the way it affects the salary cap, right? And how if the salary cap goes up, then there's it just changes things to a certain degree, but not a lot.
Is there a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but is there a lot of expectations on Bullard and Cooper, considering where they were drafted and the holes that they addressed on defense?
Yeah, we have high expectations for all those guys, but again, I think you touched a little bit earlier about us still being a youthful team. We might be young from an age perspective, but a lot of those guys have pretty good experience, for as young as they are. So I feel really good about these young guys coming in and how they've approached things so far. Training camp's a whole different animal, and obviously the season is as well. So we'll see, but I think we have a lot of high expectations, not only for the rookie class coming in, but certainly some of the returning players.
Any kind of timeline or expectations for Tucker and Zach?
Well, so yeah, Zach's going to come off PUP this morning, so he'll be out there today. He'll be a little limited as we get going here, but he's doing great. So Zach will be out there. Tucker's going to be a little bit longer, but they're both, doing very well, probably ahead of the curve. So, again, I don't think it's anything we're concerned about right now.
What did you see out of Clifford last year? Obviously, we don't get to see any of the practice once the season starts. What do you see of his development, and what did you think of Pratt on the other hand during the limited exposure?
Yeah, no, I think they're both working exactly how we want those guys to work, and they have a lot of attributes that we like. Sean last year I thought did an excellent job coming in here and winning the backup job. You guys saw him in the preseason. This is kind of his ability to compete and handle the moment. I think we expected a little bit of that just with the amount of football he had played at Penn State in a major college situation like that. And I think he continues to grow on that. So excited for him to see what he can do in year two. Michael's done a great job since he's been here. He's played a lot of football as well. Certainly has been a winner in his time at Tulane. So, this offense takes a little while to really master. So he's in that process right now. And as you go through that process, there's going to be good days and bad days. It's just part of it. And but I think he's done a nice job so far.
Brian, what's going to decide the kicker battle, and how long do you think you'll go with three guys in?
Yeah, as long as it takes. That's an exceptionally important part of what we're doing here. And so we have right now, at least we have the roster flexibility to carry three kickers. So until somebody kind of wins that job, we'll keep turning it and moving down that road until somebody wins it.
Brian, what have you seen from Jeff Hafley from your perspective? Obviously with Matt LaFleur, he was talking a little bit about it's nice to have another head coach in the room.
Mm-hmm.
From your perspective, what have you seen? How he's been able to handle being back in the NFL?
Yeah, you kind of hit it. I think a lot of guys that have been head coaches before, I think do have that 30,000-foot view sometimes, and maybe a little bit more long-term thoughts, and have gone through some things. But you know, he's exceptionally bright, you know, just really like his kind of his style with our players, you know, and just it's a really cohesive group so far. Again, it's early, you know, and then but like to see their kind of, you know, Jeff and how he's leading that the defensive staff, their teaching methods, and how they go about it. You know, yeah, it gives us some confidence for sure.
Update on Catan. I know he told us he'd be ready by training camp.
Yeah, doing well. I don't think it should be too much longer, but he's doing well. Just got a couple of hurdles to clear, and then once he does that, he'll be out there.
Hey, Goody, you kind of said after last season, the success you had, that kind of confirmed your idea that it's a young man's game. How do you feel about how young guys handle success and maybe handle expectations, right? Like last year, there weren't huge outside expectations. How do you think this group will handle kind of a totally different dynamic?
I think it remains to be seen. You know, I mean, I do have a lot of confidence in the individuals. How they handle it individually and as a team, we'll kind of see. But again, for me, it's just I think it's the constant. You know, and I think Matt and his staff do a fantastic job. Not only that, but our support staff, you know, that supports all these guys, do a great job. And you know, trying to preach to these guys that it's the day-to-day process. You know, and no matter what the result is from game to game or practice to practice, but that's where the focus has to be. You know, and you know, it's this game. You know, it's hard. It's hard, and it never stops. And I think if you think you've arrived, it's going to be taken away from you pretty quick. You know, and you know, sometimes young guys don't maybe realize that, but I think we have some pretty good examples. We were talking about Kenny Clark before. I mean, you talk about somebody who is consistent in his preparation, the way he goes about his business as anybody. You know, every rookie that walks through here, we preach to him, you know, to look at somebody within our locker room that has done it the right way and has had a lot of success and try to take what you can from those guys. And I couldn't think of a better person than Kenny to do that with. So, and we've had a number of them around here, but you know, those are choices that guys make along the way. And again, I do have to give a lot of credit to Matt and his staff and how they approach that with our young players, and it really served us well last year. And so again, you know, it remains to be seen, but I do have a lot of confidence that these guys will handle things the right way.
What did you see from Kenny last year, and what do you think sort of allowed him to stay on that ascent, you know, throughout the course of this, you know, 8 years already with you guys?
You know, he's just a pro's pro. You know, he takes care of his body, puts the right things first, and the main thing's the main thing for Kenny. And he loves football, you know, and I think to play as long as he has at the level that he has, you got to love it. He certainly loves football. And he's an unselfish team guy, you know. You know, I think he's all about winning. And, you know, again, he is the exact example of the kind of guys we want in that locker room.
How big of a problem is it to have the depth you have at wide receiver?
I don't really look at it as a problem, you know. I mean, I think it's. I think we've talked a lot in here over the past couple of years about, you know, competition is going to bring the best out of everybody, and you know, for me, it's just about those guys continuing to compete and staying healthy, and you know, continuing to kind of, you know, grow into a professional where, you know, all those things they're habitual and you know, they don't even have to think about it. But, you know, as they move into their second and third year in this offense, I think from past experiences, when those guys really start to take off, where it's more about, you know, they're not thinking about things anymore; they're just playing. And I think that'll be a good spot to be in if we can stay healthy there.
Matt said he saw Christian to be in the best shape he's been in, and he seemed really confident that he figured out his stuff in Madison over the offseason. What does he look like to you, and how excited are you to see him back?
Yeah, Christian, from the time we started scouting him, has been always in elite physical shape. I mean, he always has. I think obviously with some of the injuries he had coming out of college, there were some imbalances there that we've tried to attack. I know he's done a great job, and he's doing everything he can to make sure that he stays out there. But you know, this game is a violent game, and so I'm very confident he's done everything he can to stay out there. But it's, you know, we'll see. But I'm confident that he's done everything in his power to make sure that he stays out there, and we need him to stay out there because we are a different team when he's out there.
You were asked earlier about Jeff Hafley. Other than Kenny, you drafted this entire defensive line. Do you think that maybe Jeff's system is a better fit for the guys that you've picked for that group?
Well, that's a good question. I think, you know, we preach around here to try to be as versatile as possible, right? So whatever scheme comes around, we're going to be able to play in it. I really do think our front, and that now includes the edge guys as well, as when we talk about our defensive line, is exceptionally versatile. I really like the flexibility. You know, if whatever injuries strike during the course of this season, I think we can move some pieces around and they can do everything. I do think our guys are excited about the ability to get up the field and be a little more in attack mode. I think they probably said this much in talking to you guys. And again, you got to learn how to play that and play that effectively. That takes time. It just doesn't. You just don't roll out there. I mean, there's some different things that happen in that front. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they go about it with that group in particular. Until we get pads on and we see how they're doing that in that kind of realm. You know, we'll see how it's going, but they're all very capable. I love the ability for us to move those pieces around and come at you in waves, you know. So we're as deep as we've been there in a while.
The decision to not pick up Stokes fifth year, obviously, is this just a show-me year for him, and how motivated do you see him so far?
Yeah, that's unfortunate only because it was really because of injuries, not because of play, you know, just, but at the same time, you know, he looks just like Christian. He's attacked this thing, couldn't ask more from what he's done. He's kept a great attitude about it. He looks great. So again, as we get into this part of our season where it's probably the most stressful on these guys' bodies and minds, you know, I think he's ready to attack that, and we need him. And I'm expecting a big year from him.
Brian, when did the conversations start with Kenny and his team to get this new contract extension, and why was it important to get it done now this offseason instead?
Yeah, sometime this spring. You know, again, Russ and Kenny's agent Doug Hendrickson do a great job. Two veteran guys, so you know, we started talking a little bit about that. Kenny was going into the last year of his second deal that we did with him. So it was something we thought was important. Certainly, I'm sure he thought it was important as well. And again, not only is he an elite player, but he's an elite locker room guy. So it made a ton of sense. And he's, you know, quite frankly, for a third contract guy, which we don't do a ton of, he's a very young player. He's played a lot of snaps and he's played a lot of football, but he's a very young player. And you guys have been around him. He's kind of built to last. So hopefully that is the case.
Brian, for you personally, you're at a real similar stage in your GM career as Ron Wolf and Ted Thompson were when they won Super Bowls. Do you feel, you know, I think they might have had an inkling going into 96 and 2010 that they were on the brink of something big. Do you kind of feel the same way?
It's hard for me to tell because I don't really know how they felt during that time, so it's hard to. I do feel really good about this group. You know, I like the way they work together. I like what's important to them. I like their ability to put the team before themselves. You know, again, every year's new, and they got to do that again this year. You know, with whatever challenges come this year. But I feel really good. You know, I like the way they work together. And I'm excited to get started to see if that continues, and I expect it to. But, you know, every year's a new year. There's so many different challenges. I think the thing that I'm most confident in is that whatever challenges are thrown at them, they won't blink.
What was your thoughts when Lawrence and Goff got paid, considering the situation you're in? Trying to work things out with Jordan, and then these other numbers start popping up throughout the offseason?
No real reaction. I mean, we kind of expected those things. So I don't think it's much of a factor in how we move forward with Jordan. So we've, you know, the market and the outside things that happen are always part of it. But, you know, for us, it's just more about the Packers and our team and what makes the most sense for us.
You guys working out other, you know, quarterbacks that might be available? Did any of that have to do with maybe wanting a third arm if Jordan wasn't going to be able to practice?
Are you talking recently here?
Yeah.
No, we were working out some receivers. We needed someone to throw the ball because this arm's not what it used to be. So I will say that if we get down the road and we feel like it's going to be a number of days before we're able to work something out with Jordan, we will only have 2 quarterbacks for practice, and we will need an arm at some point. But no, but we'll see how that goes. We'll be prepared. I mean, that was, whenever we bring in skill guys to work out, we usually try to bring in a quarterback to throw. Not only, so we can evaluate the receivers, running backs, tight ends that we're looking at, but also, I mean, it's also a good check to see where these quarterbacks are in case we get into a spot. A lot of times when we're working guys out, it may not be for an immediate situation. It may be for our emergency board, just to make sure that these guys still belong on our emergency board, are still in shape, still ready to go, things like that. So I know everybody likes to read into things when we bring guys in. It's It's usually something like that.
Like your arm was ever good, you were a linebacker.
Easy. I could pitch the ball like anybody. Yeah.
Going back to the young guy thing for a second, it makes Preston Smith the outlier on your roster, being the only 30-year-old that you have, I think.
Yeah.
Why was it so important to keep him on this team, and what does he give this team in that role?
Yeah, Preston, a lot like Kenny, just really represents, so many things that we value. I mean, I think in 155 games, he's missed one, again. His attitude that he brings to practice each and every day, the leadership he shows to our players, and the guy can still really play, and, since we've picked him up in that 2019 free agency class, I mean, he's been there every day, you know what I mean? And he's still very much hard to handle for those tackles. So, he's a major part of our football team.
In terms of locker room, I know the players know this better than you do, but do you get the sense that not only is McKinney bringing you a potential elite level player, but maybe a cultural impact that goes beyond just how good he can be as a player?
I do. I think, he certainly did that in New York. I thought he did a really good job. He was a defensive captain there from a very young age, which is, you don't see a lot. And I do think he's played a lot of football, even though I think he's still just 24. Guys like him don't come around very often that have played that much at a high level and led like he had. Again, it's a new season, and all those things, that equity that players build, they don't just happen walking in the door. Usually, you got to earn it and you got to build it. And but so far, from what I'm seeing from him, he's as advertised.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
probably going to look 50-50. So today what we're going to do, because of the time constraints, a lot of our work is down in the red area just to kind of shorten the field a little bit. And then we have a lot of two spots, so it kind of will naturally just work itself out. And then, you know, when we do routes versus air as an offensive unit, Sean Mannion's going to have to be ready to roll.
How long can you go with just two quarterbacks?
I mean, that's a great question. I think, you know, obviously we're hopeful we'll get something done here in the next, sooner than later. But that's something that we're going to have to just adjust on the fly.
Jordan's still obviously, you know, a young starter. I know he had a terrific second half of the year, but what's he missing by not being here?
I think anytime, whether you're a young player or a veteran player, I mean, I think when you get to camp, you want everybody out there, and there's some guys that can't be out there today for other reasons, and but you know, you just got to adjust and adapt, and that's the nature of the beast. That's part of our game and part of our business, and but we're confident that he'll be out there sooner than later, and I know how he prepares, so I'm not overly concerned about that. He's going to do everything he can to get the mental reps. Obviously, you know, the physical reps are really what's important.
Just to be clear, so he's obviously still here. Will he be at practice?
Yeah, he'll be at practice. He was in the meetings, you know, participating, and just, you know, hopefully we'll get something done sooner than later.
At what point do you realize you're going to have to adjust and adapt as far as practice plan that he might not be actually on the field practice?
When I was told yesterday. But I mean, obviously, you know, that could potentially happen, but, you know, it is what it is.
And Matt, you guys had such a great off-season vibe, right? You had such great attendance and everything. In any way, does this put a damper on that, or do you feel like your guys are probably supportive of Jordan, one, and then two, that they're just in a really good place?
Yeah, I think the overall vibe of the team, like we had a great team meeting yesterday. There's a lot of energy in the building right now. I just think anytime you talk about the character of the football team and why that's so important, I think you can feel it from our guys. And, you know, each individual, especially early on, I mean, we all got a lot to work on. And so I think if we keep the focus there and then obviously not allow that to become a distraction, I think it's imperative. And I mean, we talked about that today.
Kind of talked during the off-season about how it's great that you guys finished the way you did, but that doesn't mean anything moving forward. Was that kind of the theme to your conversation with your team yesterday, or what was your message?
Yeah, I think, you know, you always go over the objectives of training camp, and obviously getting back into football shape, kind of forging our identity, getting ready for week one and beyond. That's a big part of it. I think the connection of a team is paramount. That's why we have these guys all staying in the same place together, to give them a little bit more time with one another. But I think everything we do matters. The work that we put in, how deliberate we are about our practice, how intentional, mindful, how we're going about our business each and every day. I think the habits that we create are going to help forge the identity that we want on the field.
Matt, what did it mean to get Kenny extended just with what he's done the last 8 years and kind of the presence he has in that locker room?
Kenny is the model of consistency, and in everything he does, his approach. Obviously, he was here participating all off season, and then just the work he puts in. He has guys out with him in California and helping those young guys along, and then you can always count on him each and every Sunday. So I'm really happy, ecstatic that we got that done. And just, you know, I think that the guys are fired up for him as well.
On Kenny, he'd be good in any scheme, obviously, but is there maybe more out there for him individually, impact-wise, in what he's going to be asked to do here?
Yeah, I think you said it, Bill. I think he's good in any system, and hopefully, you know, that there's more out there for him. I think certainly you're either getting better or you're getting worse, and I think he's still got room to continue to grow. And but you know, just love the fact that we got that done, and he's going to be out there with us.
Matt, Brian mentioned he thought that these guys have a hunger to them. I'm wondering what you see. I'm assuming you share that sentiment. What do you see from these guys?
Yeah, I think they're energized. I think guys are ready to go. I think they're ready to get back at it. But ultimately, we got to go out there and do the work and put the work in. And like I said, we got to be deliberate about how we go about our business and the approach that we take, and making sure that we're constantly competing to give our best each and every time we get out on the field.
I know the start OTAs was kind of jogged through for a lot of it at the start. Is that kind of how these first few days look, or are you going?
No, it's a different mindset now. It's training camp, and we got to get ready to play football. And there's an acclimation period here for us, and you're kind of limited, obviously, on the time and what you can do. Certainly, to me, it really starts when you get the pads on. But and so there's some rules of engagement along the way, in terms of, at the end of the day, we need to get better and work together, every phase to keep people healthy. It's about being a great teammate first and foremost, and just, pushing each other to get better. I mean, certainly there's some things when you talk about, a lot of it comes up front where we're going to limit what we do, maybe from in the run game, with limiting some of the gap schemes when we're in these non-padded practices. And then conversely, on the defensive side of the ball, when we're trying to eliminate some of the pick games and when guys are rushing the quarterback. So I think that our guys did a really good job with that as we transitioned throughout the course of OTAs, of just working together and trying to work edges and just putting good work in.
How important is it to have Zach coming back today and kind of trying to figure out the best five and sort of having it, they're all available from the jump?
Yeah, he certainly, to have him back is great, and that just tells you, it's a testament, I would say, to the work that he put in. He was very disciplined, not only with our athletic trainers, with our strength staff, and so it's good to have him back out there. Obviously, we're going to be smart with him and not going to throw him into those team settings quite yet. It'll be more individual, but just for him to be able to participate in some of the walkthrough stuff that we do in the evenings, and then obviously the individual is going to be critical for him.
On Zach, obviously I'm not an expert on these things, and maybe the fellows will be shocked to hear that. Maybe
You're not an expert?
No, I'm not. But obviously you got injured bench pressing, which is a valuable thing for staying strong. So how does a guy with a torn pectoral, in a position where you need to be strong, how does he stay strong?
Just through the rehab process. I think, these guys did it. I haven't gone through it myself, although I'm not quite the same strength as Zach. But I just think our guys had a great plan for him. I think he was diligent in everything they asked him to do. And, it's obviously the strength is paramount at that position, at every position. But, he's in a good spot right now.
Man, do you want to leave Jordan Morgan at one spot, or will you bounce him around over the next month? Or?
Time will tell. I think, obviously you'd like a home for him, but I do think that we've seen the value in cross-training these guys. I mean, it happens every year where you got to move guys in order to get the top five out there, and he's certainly capable of doing whatever we ask him to do.
Man, if Love's thing went on beyond into pads or whatever, would Clifford be more of the guy to take the #1 reps because of his experience?
Well, I think he'll start out that way, but everything's a competition, and we'll just kind of take it one day at a time.
Matt, it doesn't sound like you guys are super worried about Jaden not being ready. So what do you look for him to do in year 2, given what you saw him accomplish as a rookie?
Just continue to improve upon what he's already done. I mean, he's laid a foundation. I think he is super, I would say, deliberate in terms of how he goes about his offseason. Obviously put in great work down in, he was somewhere down in South Florida, and I think he was there with Wicks. And, I just think he's so much further ahead mentally from where he was a year ago, just knowing the offense, knowing what the expectations are, and then working on his craft. I think that showed up in throughout the course of OTAs.
I think at minicamp you had said that Michael Pratt was, in terms of the offense, drinking water through a fire hose, and you said this time off would maybe serve him well. He now is obviously going to a spot where he's taking 50% of the quarterback reps this week. How prepared do you think he is, and what do you want to see from him?
We're about to find out. I wish I could tell you that. I mean, he's done a nice job in the meetings, and there's still a lot of room for growth, as to be expected, right? I mean, we've got a pretty big volume of offense that we can throw at these guys, and so I guess we're about to find out.
I know not having Jordan's a little bit of a curveball, but when you think about where you were a year ago with all these young guys, the first day of camp, you're not really sure what they can handle. I know you've talked about it a little bit in the past, but just how different is today versus where you were a year ago with that roster and not knowing kind of what to expect?
Yeah, I think there's a clear vision for what we can be and what we want to do. And obviously there's going to be things that turn up along the way, and you got to be able to adjust. And that's the beauty, I would say, of having some guys that have some experience now, is that when you need to pivot, I feel confident that we'll be able to do so.
A few more, please. There are a lot of, kind of along those lines, the expectations are high. I'm sure it's almost impossible to ignore. So is that how do you get those guys to ignore, oh, we're great and all this kind of stuff,
I think it's just about putting in the work. I think you gotta take it one day at a time, that one day mentality, and continue working on daily improvement. And I think our guys have embraced that. And I mean, expectations come with just in this league. And the best way that at least I'm speaking for myself here, that I know about, is just handling each day one day at a time with that mindset of trying to making sure that we're getting better each and every day. But it all starts with putting in the work. Nothing's going to be given to you in this league. Adversity is coming at some point in time. It's just the competitive balance is, in my opinion, the best of any professional sport. So you just got to continue to try to stay together, stay connected, and put in great work.
With the start of camp, are you accounting for the fact, like last year you had all rookie wide receivers, you had a quarterback coming in for the first time. Now they've all been through it for a year. Do you take that into account in the way you start training camp, or do you just start from the beginning like you always do and go forward?
Yeah, I think there's a philosophy that we have in terms of how to prepare a football team, and certainly there's, like I talked about, there's some limitations just from a time component. But I would say in terms of just laying out the plan and being intentional about our plan, I would say that took a lot of preparation, but that happens and occurs throughout the course of the off season, to lay out where you want to be, and trying to get these guys ready for, obviously, one day at a time, but looking ahead, getting them ready for the first preseason game, making sure you have everything installed, and then, progressing on that as we continue throughout the course of the preseason, and ultimately concluding with week 1.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
All right, have a good one. We'll see y'all.